Welcome back to another tabletop review. Today we'll be taking a look at the fourth and final video in a four-part series on dry fire training at home, recoil-enabled dry firing training pistols. As I said, this is the fourth and final video in a four-part series on dry fire training at home. By way of reviewing the previous videos, we began with the easiest and least expensive level, the laser training cartridge. Available in most popular cartridge sizes, laser training cartridges can economically convert your firearm into a training firearm. In the second video, we looked at reactive and interactive laser target systems. The advantage of these systems is their affordability and the invaluable feedback they can provide on the shooter's performance. Then we looked at what I consider the third and highest level of dry fire training solutions, range simulators. While not cheap, dry fire laser range simulators can provide fairly realistic range and scenario-based training opportunities that can be at the highest level. All of these previous solutions primarily used laser cartridges inserted into your own firearm to provide an either visible or infrared laser flash on a target system. And the laser training pistols and rifles are also available for most of these systems. Of course, they can be almost as expensive as a real firearm compared to just adding a laser cartridge to your existing firearm, but they also have the potential to be recoil enabled. Charged with either CO2 or green gas fuel, these firearms can provide a feel of recoil that is about 30% of real fire. But because the recoil enabled firearms also cycles itself when fired like a real firearm would, the action and trigger feel more realistic as well. So overall, the shooting experience, while not 100% realistic, is certainly enhanced. There are a number of options when it comes to recoil-enabled training firearms. In my opinion, some of the best of these are offered by Laser Ammo. Currently, there are 5 different pistol models offered by Laser Ammo. The M9, which basically is a replication of the Beretta M9 or 92FS, and a full-size striker fire duty pistol based upon the Glock 17. There's also a Smith & Wesson M&P style pistol and a combat-size full functional 1911 pistol. And finally, a pistol based upon the SIG P226, popular with law enforcement and military personnel. Laser Ammo also has a pretty good AR-15 laser rifle available. To involve my family members, I actually bought 2 of these recoil-enabled pistols. First, I decided on Laser Ammo's M9 laser pistol because I have 2 Beretta M9s, one in 9mm and the other in .22 long rifle, and because the Beretta M9 is one of my wife's favorite firearms. At $355, I thought it also had a good price compared to the other recoil-enabled guns, and it came with 2 magazines. It's fueled by green gas, it has good weight, good feel, good features, including a mag release, slide release, safety, and decocker. Basically functions like a real M9, and its recoil feels pretty good as well. Even breaks down like the real gun. The second recoil-enabled laser gun I bought was the Glock 17 pistol from Laser Ammo for $425. I own a G17, and it's a full-size gun that my family likes. Unfortunately, it came with only 1 magazine, but at least the second magazine was available, which I bought for about $40. It's also fueled by green gas. This gun is actually made by Glock, so as you might expect, it has good weight, good feel, good features, and functions like my real G17. It also has a recoil that feels good as well. Trigger pull matches the real counterpart gun at about 5.5 pounds. Now you note that these pistols have an identifying red tape around their grips. This is how they're shipped. I've left the tape on because I think they're also similar to the real guns that I own, but I thought the red tape might provide an additional layer of safety. Can't hurt. Now you can get these guns in either visible red laser, or you can get the infrared laser-equipped gun for about $20 more. I got these pistols with infrared lasers because that's what my interactive targets and range simulation systems require. And one more point, depending on your choice, these type of guns will be fueled by either CO2 or with a special type of propellant called green gas, which is what these canisters are, which contain silicone lubricant and run about $15 a bottle and will provide about 40 to 60 charges per canister. I chose the green gas pistols over the CO2 because of the lubrication. Probably the most obvious con of recoil-enabled firearms is their initial cost and the fact that they require maintenance like any real firearm would. They also require batteries and fuel or charging, and their parts wear out over time. I've also found that if you leave the batteries in these units, they'll drain quicker than if they are removed between use. And even though they're pretty good replicas of the original guns upon which they're based, they may or may not meet your expectations. For example, the recoil-enabled M9 is very similar in many respects, like looks, size, weight, features, and functions, but because this one is actually based upon the M9A1 Beretta, meaning it has a frame rail, it doesn't fit my preferred M9 holsters, and the sight picture is slightly different. Also, the recoil experiences vary on these laser firearms, with most providing about 30% of the recoil of their real counterparts. So it's not perfect. But probably one of the major cons is that you may not be able to find a recoil-enabled laser firearm that actually matches your personal carry weapon like my SIG P232 or Walther PPK. Still, if you carry the popular Glock 19, for example, you'll be happy to note that the recoil-enabled laser ammo Glock 17 is still a pretty close representation. That should be expected since the unit is actually made by Glock. And I think that's what should really matter here, but be warned that you can't rely on what you get to be exactly what is shown. Today the Laser Ammo website shows what appears to be a Gen 5 G17 without finger grooves on the grips, but with a swelled mag well. However, the model I received is more like the Gen 3 model with finger grooves and lacks the flared magazine well. Not a big deal, and I doubt you'll be too disappointed given how nice the gun really is overall. It's close enough, even if you've modified your personal weapon beyond recognition as a Glock, because this recoil-enabled pistol is actually made by Glock to Glock specifications. It can be modified to some extent to match your personal Glock modifications if that's important to you. As for pros, to be fair, these individual recoil-enabled firearms can be very realistic and operate very much like their real counterparts. That's a real advantage when training for memory of operational and functional skills. Back to the Beretta M9, for example. The laser ammo M9 recoil-enabled pistol may not be perfect, but it's identical enough in features and as realistic a feel as you might expect for training purposes. Transfer of training skills to your personal M9 is seamless enough for most of us. Of course, probably one of the most important benefits is the auto racking function of the gas-powered recoil. Also, the availability of a recoil-enabled training AR-15 rifle for about $600 will likely be welcomed by many for professional rifle training. One more thing. If you restrict your simulation range to the use of only these dedicated recoil laser training firearms, the chances of a loaded gun training accident could be greatly reduced. Now this is where I usually ask you again to be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. Well, in summary, certainly recoil-enabled training firearms are going to be more expensive than just adding a laser cartridge to your existing firearm, but adding the feel of recoil to your training firearm isn't the only benefit. The auto racking or charging of the firearm during firing is a major benefit. There's also cost involved in the use and maintenance of recoil-enabled training firearms, but a more realistic experience might very well be worth it. At least that's my opinion. So, how do I feel about recoil-enabled laser training firearms now that I've owned a couple myself? Well, to be honest, I'm a bit disappointed that I couldn't find something more similar to the smaller weapons I actually carry. Because I think it's important, if you carry, that you regularly practice with that firearm. I consider not having a recoil-enabled gun similar to my smaller everyday carry weapon to be more than just a minor disappointment. As such, I do use my double single action SIG P232 with an infrared laser cartridge in my range simulator from time to time just to maintain my skills. But what if your everyday carry is a single action Kimber Micro 9 or Ruger LCP? Well, then you'll need to cock the hammer or charge the slide before each shot. Good luck with that. There's no doubt that these recoil-enabled firearms make training experiences more realistic and enjoyable overall. Was the price tag of $350 to $425 worth it for a recoil-enabled training pistol? Well, in perspective, I'd say yes, and you sort of get what you pay for. The laser ammo, laser training pistols are indeed a pretty good level of quality. So yes, I'm impressed enough with these recoil-enabled pistols that I'm even considering adding the laser ammo AR-15 style laser training rifle to my collection. Now to wrap up, if you've watched all 4 of these videos on dry fire training at home, I thank you and hope you found them useful. I encourage you to also check out my more than 90 other firearm reviews. You're bound to find other videos you'll enjoy. And remember, any weapon you carry is better than the one you left at home. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll be back for my next tabletop review. Until next time, stay safe.